Greetings, everyone. It is Being Brown at Work Live. And as you hear me say every Tuesday, so I'm not going to stop saying it today, it is my favorite day of the week, favorite time of the week, because I get the esteem, honor, and pleasure. And this guest, I'm telling you tonight, the esteem, honor, and pleasure of introducing to you a fabulous woman that I got to know when I became her link sister several years ago. And we are also sorors. So I am extremely honored and excited. And without further ado, let me introduce you to Dr. Geneva Williams. After 40 plus years as an award winning, innovative nonprofit leader, Dr. Geneva Williams reinvented herself as an author, an international speaker, podcaster, and title holding advocate for women to live fit, fine, and a vibrant life. A late life beauty queen, entrepreneur, and online course creator, Dr. Geneva shows women that you can do anything at any age. She delivers a powerful message on legacy and leadership. As a facilitator and workshop leader, her talks center around how to create influence, impact, and do good in the community. She shares how she went from her stellar career as a president CEO, becoming a widow after 4 decades of marriage, still raising two millennials at home, to becoming the oldest contestant to win the Miss Black Fit and Fine pageant, and to being recognized as a leading Michigan businesswoman, and going on to star in her first television commercial. She knows what it's like to try to figure out what's next when you don't even know what's left. She guides her clients through her proprietary blueprint on vibrant living that inspires women to take action and make an impact. And so, I had to have Dr. Geneva Williams with us on Bringing Brown at Work Live. Dr. G, thank you so much, Dr.
Oh
Geneva.
my goodness. Thank you, Linda. Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here with you. And thank you for that awesome introduction. As you were going through it, I said, yeah, is that me? Okay. Because sometimes you
Yes,
get so busy in the work and the mission that, hearing that, thank you for
yes.
for sharing that.
No, absolutely. And it is your work and mission, which is why I was first so compelled to have you as a guest here. And I've got already some people joining us with applause as I was
Oh, good. Oh,
reading
wonderful.
your
Thank
bio.
you.
Thank you, Leola, and some people that are joining us. I was compelled to have you on because of your mission and your vision for women. And so, what I want to kick this conversation off with Dr. Geneva because there's so many nuggets of wisdom that I know you have to share, and I want to make sure we get it all in. You've had a very in-depth and broad career experience. And as a Black woman, throughout your career, be it when you were the president or CEO, or as a podcaster, or when you're holding your workshops and you're facilitating moving people forward in their journey, over the years, has there been a common thread or theme that kind of kept coming at you that you were seeing from women in particular that might be holding them back from being their best selves?
I think several things, Linda. What I used to see all the time, it seemed, was that we didn't know our why.
Ah,
Why we're in it, what we're doing, what's it's what is it all about, the purpose. Lately,
yes.
I've been seeing more women stop and think about that, their purpose. But coming through my career, that was a big void
Mm,
because we were dealing with so many challenges. Now, Linda, the challenges have not gone away, okay?
clearly, no, no,
That
no.
we're seeing.
Right.
And I think that was probably the biggest challenge that I heard from women, or really that I saw.
Okay.
not knowing our why, our
Mm,
purpose. That is stopping for a moment and thinking about, why am I really doing this? What does it
yes.
really mean? And am I clearly fulfilling my purpose and my values? And so that was one. I think another common thing I used to see was that women didn't particularly have all the confidence in
Mm,
themselves
yes.
that I would see. I mean, I would see incredible talent,
Mm-hmm.
amazing gifts, some things that I wasn't really surprised about because I knew the uniqueness, the talent, the expertise, the passion was there. However,
Right.
I used to see it, but I didn't see women themselves seeing it and believing it.
Mm,
And I think maybe the third thing that I used to see very often, or would be a common theme, is that not recognizing the special place that we as women leaders
mm,
hold in the world.
yes.
And that in fact, we have this unique, incredible, awesome talents that in fact, really give us a special place, a special gift to make a
Yes.
difference, to raise children, to raise families, to create
Absolutely.
impact, to change the world. And sometimes we don't recognize and embrace that uniqueness that we have and leverage it in
Yes.
our everyday life.
Yes, 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 yes. So, if we could dive into that a little more, because I really love that. I've talked about the why and the purpose as well, and I know I agree with you. I too see the confidence piece really not being at the level that it should be, and that negative self-talk and that imposter syndrome, because we're always comparing
Yes.
ourselves, right, to other people. But from your perspective, Dr. Geneva, as you work with women, because I know you're a strategist as well in leadership, let's dive a little bit into that confidence piece. What have you found to be the root of that? And, for some of our women that are listening in tonight, if they're struggling with that confidence, what would you share with them based on what you've seen?
Well, the first thing I would want to say is forget it. Forget that self-doubt you got, and when it creeps up, just tell it to go away. Knock it
Mm,
away. Forget it.
love
Okay.
it.
I,
Yes,
I like to say that to women, that
love
this,
it.
and sometimes we call it this imposter syndrome. And it's so funny, Linda, because I remember when I first came to Detroit and had my very first interview trying to break into the United Way. And I was nervous and I
Mhm.
was anxious. And I felt this doubt creeping up as I prepared for the interview. Now I know, logically, I said to myself, I should not be feeling this way. I had the creds, I had the
Mhm.
masters, I had the experience, I had all the references, I had everything that I needed to have to really strut my stuff
Ugh,
and grab this
yes,
interview. But
yes.
the nagging, that self doubt, that, did in fact
Mm,
rear its head. And there were other times that it did. And one of the techniques that I used was to say, get out,
yes.
you know, get out of
Yeah,
here,
no place here.
no
Exactly.
place here.
Yes.
And when this particular time, when I came into this interview, and that's why I say this imposter syndrome has both the personal face to it and a
Uh-huh.
societal face. Because
So
the
true.
personal, as I dealt with it, but then the societal, as I sat down and
Mm,
began the interviewee told me, the person interviewing me, I was the interviewee, the
yes.
person interviewing me said, well, I just want to let you know that you're going to face some major challenges because you're young, you're
Mm,
out of town, you're
mm-hmm.
a woman, And of course, these days you can't say none of that,
That
but
you
back
can't say.
then.
Back then,
And so
right.
so that's the societal part, I think,
Right.
Linda, of this so-called imposter syndrome, that
Yes.
there are people who are actually telling us, believing that we're not good enough.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
we fight both of those sides. And so I say to women that you're always going to be in the game of, you know, um, proving yourself,
Mm-hmm.
standing up, doing that. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Expect it. And what the
Yes.
thing to do is, I believe, is to prepare for it,
Ah.
to know that it's coming. That's okay. Get your creds in order. Read as much as you can. Be the
Yes.
best you can be in your industry.
Yes.
Put together your list of accomplishments. That is, you should have an inventory of all of your assets. So there should be a piece of paper somewhere, a journal, where you have written down all of the
Mm.
things you've accomplished,
I love
all of
that.
the talents that you have, and all of the skills you possess. And you should have that somewhere. And so when that self doubt becomes, starts to creep
Mm-hmm.
in, because it
Mm-hmm.
will, that's a natural. The point is,
Exactly.
you want to be prepared for it. So, one of the things after you say, get out
Get
of
out.
here,
Yes.
is to go grab that journal and
Yes.
review your inventory.
Oh,
And
I
then the
love that.
other thing I like to say to women is that you are good enough. You are. You are good
Good
enough.
enough.
In fact, particularly as you review your inventory of assets, you will find that the skills that you've acquired, the skills that you possess just from living,
Mm.
besides what you've got in
Mm.
your schooling or you've read about or you've done on the job, you
Yes.
have those living skills, particularly as Black and Brown women.
Yes,
Huh?
ma'am. Yes,
And so,
ma'am.
as you put together your inventory, for example, as include those things in there, those facing the challenges you face, the
Yes.
racism, the sexism that is always there, that you've found techniques and strategies to
Yes.
deal with. Those are skills and talents. Those, in fact, are evidence of your ability to, um, to go the extra mile, to make
Yes.
it, to, stand up and speak up. And so
Yes.
those are the things
Beautiful.
I like to share with women, to remind yourself that, first of all, you is good enough. And then, in fact, you're probably even better than
Better.
good enough.
Yes,
As
ma'am.
Michelle Obama
Yes,
said,
ma'am.
when she talked about her own struggles with imposter syndrome, that, you walking in a room, most likely you are better than most people sitting around
Getting
the
around the room.
table. And that's
Exactly.
okay. And that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the tips that I in my um, tips for women who are dealing with leadership, I say,
Yeah.
don't downplay your accomplishments and never be ashamed of your ambition.
Yes, absolutely.
Never. And
Dr.
by the
Geneva,
way,
oh,
I,
go ahead.
I know I'm going on. You want to ask me
No,
another
no,
question,
no,
but I
no
just want to
worries.
put a PS on that interview that I had,
Okay.
where the white male who was interviewing me, who
Okay.
laid out the reasons why I probably would have a difficult time,
Mm,
I sat there, swallowed, scared to death, which is the other thing. You can be scared, but you still go on and speak up.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
was scared to death, and I smiled and I said, well, one day I'll have your job.
Oh,
I managed to find the strength somehow to say that, because we can find it to say it. I said it, and you know what, Linda? Not only did I have his job, one day I had the boss's job, and I became the
wow.
first
Yes.
female to head United Way. So
Yes.
we can do
Yes.
it.
Yes, we can. Yes,
So
we can. When we tell that self-doubt to get out of here.
get
Yes.
out.
And someone else joining us, see, I told you there's
Yes,
going to be things you say that are going to resonate. She
yes,
said an inventory of accomplishments. Love
yes.
that. Yes, I
Absolutely.
love it too.
We
Absolutely.
should do our
Absolutely.
own. If you're in business, you've heard of SWOT:
Oh, absolutely.
strengths,
Strength,
weakness,
weakness, yeah,
opportunities, and
and
threats. And
threats.
we
Yes.
find ourselves in the corporate workplace, in business, et cetera, doing that. Well, I believe in a personal SWOT. So
Yes.
you do the same thing for yourself. And you
Personal
become very
SWOT.
honest
I
about that and
love
do that
that.
assessment for yourself.
Yes.
So you look at, what you're strong in, what you might need
Yes.
some things to improve, what the opportunities are for you, and what are the things that are threatening you or the barriers getting in your way. Use
Yes.
those techniques that you're very good at in the workplace to
Yes.
build up your best self. Because again, and when we get into talking, but that's part of what I believe that's my leadership theory about being your best self.
Wonderful. I love that, Dr. Geneva. I had to post that because I wanted all the viewers to see that. Create a personal SWOT. Have never
Yes,
heard that before. I love it. So, Dr. Geneva, I've heard you say that everybody's a leader.
yes,
Leadership exists
mhm,
in all of us. And
yes.
I also know that you've written a book. And I love this title, Get Your Leadership On. Love it. And for those of you
Okay.
that are watching us live or you're catching this on the replay, you can get this book. It's out there on Amazon. You want to get it. There's some beautiful nuggets in here. Dr. Geneva's, there it is. Dr. Geneva's going to share some of this with us tonight. But you say, Dr. Geneva, that everybody's a leader, and whether or not the difference is, are we really going to claim it? Can
Mhm.
you talk a little bit about that? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Linda, there have been thousands and thousands and thousands of studies written on leadership. It's one of the most interesting, fascinating subjects that has ever been around.
Yes.
And at the end of at the bottom line, though, I believe that leadership, and in all the studies that you read, you will see leadership is about influence,
Yes.
about influencing yourself, someone else to accomplish a goal.
Yes.
And I believe all of us have that in us, and that it's really about everyday leadership, because what we're talking about is having influence over our own lives,
Mm-hmm.
over our children, our families, where we are in the workplace, how we
Yes.
want to create a better world. So I
Yes.
believe that everyone has leadership in them, and this whole concept of everyday leadership, because as we look at what all of the studies talk about, it really is about vision and commitment and
Mm.
impact and passion and integrity. And when you think about that, those really are everyday things that
Yes.
we
Yes.
want to be, we are and want to be passionate. We want to
Right.
have integrity. We want to
Yes.
have influence over ourselves and impact on the world and make a difference. And you don't have to have
Absolutely.
the title or the position, just be yourself. You
Absolutely. And
want to,
what I love you just said, that I often say, who we are personally is who we are
yes,
professionally. And the fact that you've
absolutely,
tied leadership into everyday
absolutely.
leadership, I love that. That is so, so, so true. So, so true.
And
So,
you know
Dr.
what I
Geneva,
found?
go ahead.
No,
Yes.
I was just going to say what I found, Linda, my own leadership philosophy is that leadership is art and science. And at the
Mm,
end of the day, it's about knowing and growing yourself so that you
mm.
can create extraordinary impact.
Oh,
And
wow. I
that
love
impact
that.
can be on your own life. It can be in with your children, with your family, at the workplace, in your
Yes.
neighborhood, in your community. But it all is about being your best self.
Mm,
And that's something that, so the science of leadership, I think, is about, and one of my tips is learn everything you can about your industry. Whatever it
Okay.
is, whatever your
Okay.
workplace is,
Okay.
if you're an engineer, if you're a tech person, if you're a manager in whatever company, would learn everything you can about that industry. And
Hmm.
then there's tools, techniques, studies, knowledge that you can learn about leadership. So that's the science part about. Go to class, go to school, go to the seminars, listen to this podcast, all of those
Yes.
wonderful tips, techniques, strategies, and tools. Leadership is also an art. And I
Mm.
think the art part is your heart, the values
Oh,
that you have.
yes.
And knowing
Yes.
your values is so very key. Knowing what's important to you, because if you
Yes.
know your values, you're going to be steadfast in your purpose. And knowing your values in your heart and encouraging others and supporting others and uplifting others and
Hmm.
knowing how to walk into a room and own it. That's an
Yes. Yes. Yes.
art.
Yes.
That's an art. That's the art part, I think, of leadership. And so when we put those two together, Linda, I think it's about then self development. And one of the things I learned very young on when I started out in United Way and was going through my journey, I was reading everything I could. I was just trying to learn from others and watching others, which is part, again, another tip,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
I put in here, that is look at and learn from others that you admire,
Okay.
because role modeling is a wonderful technique, because learn it, see what you like, because if you're a mother, if you're a worker, if no matter what, you are a role model. So
Yes.
one of the things that I learned as I was trying to read everything coming through as a youngster in my career. And one day I came upon Max Dupree, who's a leadership theorist
Oh,
and
yes.
from
Okay.
Michigan, by the way. And one of his book, Leadership is an Art, he talked about, at the end of the day, leadership is about knowing and growing yourself. It's about
Mm.
self-development. And
Yes.
Harvard recently found, after they said, well, listen, things are changing, Linda, in leadership. So we want to go out and we want to find out what's new
What's new?
in
Uh-huh.
leadership. And
Right.
what they found, Linda, was after
Nothing.
years and years and centuries, the same basic principles still existed about vision and
Mm.
purpose and impact and leading and knowing yourself, leading yourself.
Beautiful.
So, becoming your best self, again, another
Yes.
tip that I have is learn who you are and be very clear about your values.
Mm. Yes. Yes. That's
Developing yourself and knowing who you are, because the more you know you, the better you can lead and the better you can embrace others.
others and their differences. And that's a way too to walk in your authenticity. So you're
Absolutely.
not clouded about around a bunch of facade or performance metrics.
Mhm.
You're truly showing up as your authentic best self. I
Exactly.
love this. Leadership is
Exactly.
both an art and a science.
Mhm.
This is, oh, yes. So those are, you give us three little nuggets from your book. Give us a couple more, please.
Okay,
Couple
another
more.
one of my favorites is this whole, and we were just really talking about, but this whole concept of um, both and.
Mm,
Sometimes we operate, and this goes back to what Max Dupree was saying, is that this is the art part of leadership. And that is, it often isn't black and white, that it
okay.
really, leadership operates in a whole bunch of shades of gray. And
Ah,
rather than being either or your choices, it really is both and.
and
And so that
I
rather
love that.
than, that we see that things can exist at the same time. And it's the
Yes.
same way with like leadership, like we were just talking, art. Is it
In
an
science.
art or is it science?
Right.
Well, it's
Yeah,
both.
both.
And
Yes.
both can exist in the same place. And Linda, I like to talk a lot about this with leaders and folk at the workplace because it also brings in the whole concept of flexibility.
Yeah. Oh, beauty. Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
how
Yes.
important it is to, and then the whole aspect of diversity.
Mm.
So that when we deal with flexibility, when we deal with diverse opinions, talents,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
people at
Mm-hmm.
the table,
Yes.
us having this both and
And
concept approach rather than an
ah,
either or. It's either this way or the
yes.
highway, and it's not. And as we become more diverse at the workplace, we clearly have to become more flexible and
Yes.
understand that, there are these shades and these areas. And in that, is where we can embrace diversity. We can
Yes.
embrace flexibility. We ourselves can allow, our own talents to come out, but more important, be able to listen and hear the talents and opinions of others.
Oh my gosh, that is so powerful, Dr. Geneva. I had not even made that connection till you said it out loud.
Hmm.
Flexibility, the both and the and,
Hmm.
because that the either or is constant in corporate America.
Absolutely.
It's constant. It's
Absolutely.
either this or that. It can't be
Exactly.
both.
And so when
You,
you're sitting in that meeting,
oh my
Linda,
gosh,
or your
yes.
listeners are good, and you're hearing that because you'll hear it all the time.
All the
Well, we
time.
can go this way or that way. Think about challenging that and say,
Yes.
well, does it have to be either or? What if it were? And it gets into that whole concept of, thinking outside of the box,
Yes,
etc.
absolutely.
Well, what if it's, could we possibly do both? Can we
Wow.
find ways to incorporate both
Both.
approaches or many approaches? And the
Yes.
thing about it, Linda, is we do this every
Every
day
day.
as women
Yes, we do.
when we're
Yes.
dealing with our everyday challenges.
Yes,
We
we
trying to
do.
figure it out. And
Yes.
many times when we figuring out, we come up with several options.
Yes. Oh
And
my
that
gosh.
skill and ability that we have to figure it out, to
Mm-hmm.
strategize, to
Mm-hmm.
employ a both and,
Mm-hmm.
various options, we in fact can transfer that to the workplace
Sure
and
can.
find success in that.
Yes, ma'am. And be that leader
Hmm.
visibly that is within.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Dr. Geneva. See, this is what I'm gonna have to figure out a new time stamp because the 30 minutes just
Are
it
we
just
at the
30
end?
already, Dr. Geneva.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, everyone, I'd love to hear from you in your comments. What do you think about leadership being an art and a science? What are your thoughts about the either or the both and the and, which I think I mean, that just hit me and it's going to change my whole approach, even your girl right here, her approach in the workplace for sure. Because I just love that. I would love for you to share your comments. As I mentioned, Dr. Geneva's this fabulous book, Get Your Leadership On. She only shared with us in this segment 5 of those beautiful nuggets of ideas and ways you can be successful as a leader and be your best self. Pick up the book because there's 52 of them in the book. So you want to get that and have it in your inventory, have it in your
Yes.
repertoire, your resources. Yes. Oh, I have a question, Dr. Geneva, before
Yes.
I'm let you go.
Yes.
Someone's looking to get your book, but she says she only sees it Kindle only. Where can they get a paper copy?
Well, here's what you can do. You
Okay.
can go to my website,
Ah,
drgenevaspeaks.com, and
there
you
we go.
can get it. And I mean, it's on Amazon, etc. But I also have a downloadable copy free on my
Oh,
website.
Oh,
Yes, for you,
wonderful.
for those
So,
of you who would join my email community, it's right there. And
boo. Oh,
and Linda,
beautiful.
let me just drop one other thing that I found,
Yes.
because as we're working to be the best that we can do, remember to find and give joy.
Oh my gosh.
One of the things we want to be able to
Oh
do
my
is
gosh.
to be able to give back in our lives. We want to be happy and to find joy.
Yes.
And so as we're busy on our corporate thing, and as we're doing, being brown at the workplace,
Yes.
remember we owe it to ourselves to find joy in life and to
And to
give
give it.
joy to others.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Geneva, what a
Just want to
beautiful
leave
way
that.
to end our time together. I have personally experienced the joy that you give, and I just want to share with you live on here that you've been a blessing to me as a Link sister and as a soror. Thank you so much for your time this evening with us on Being Brown Live. It looks like a few people have found your website and
Oh,
signed up for
good.
your email address. Yes,
Love it.
yes, 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 yes.
We'll have fun.
Yes, Dr. Geneva, have a wonderful rest of your
Thank
evening
you.
and week. Thank you so much for gracing me and
My
us
pleasure.
tonight on Being Brown at Work Live. Take good
My
care.
pleasure. Thank you.